Mm-hmm.
They started off the season 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
They have lost 9 out of 11 games.
Yeah,
they are easily one of the 5 worst teams in the NFL now.
It's a full-blown death spiral that they're in right now. They've lost 4 straight, and the least amount of points they've given up in the 4-game losing streak is 29 points.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the lowest.
The last 4 weeks, I totaled this up yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's 150 to 70.
Yeah.
That's 4 weeks. They've been outscored by a total of 80 points.
Mm-hmm.
And they've allowed, all right, this was Ron Rivera's defense, no Jack Del Rio. They've allowed 90 points in the last 2 weeks, but 150 in 4 games.
Right.
That's an average of 37.5 points per game that they are giving up.
Yeah, 395 for the year. Outscored by 134.
Yeah, it's just it's just too bad. I don't know. I'll tell you.
They're coming. They're head on with a top 3 pick. They're coming head on with a
bullet train. They're on
bullet
the
train
bullet
to a top
for
3
it.
pick.
Yeah.
It's a death spiral. You know, a month ago they were 4-5,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a fairly close game against Seattle.
Right.
Could have gone the other way, and then it's just been a tailspin. And some of it has to do with playing better teams, but look, part of it is you lost to the Giants.
Right.
That's not a better team, all right? The last 2 weeks, understandable. But the new defense with Ron Rivera making the calls looked a lot like the old defense with Jack Del Rio making the calls.
I don't even know if he made any calls.
I mean,
It looked the exact same.
Didn't look like it.
I'm rarely in the business of defending Ron, but it wouldn't have mattered who was calling the plays for that defense yesterday against the team that they were facing. That team was going to victimize the Commanders.
It can't be helpful, though. It can't be helpful when you line up
Quan Martin.
man-to-man in the slot against Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it doesn't
didn't
matter.
understand that for 1
If you
second.
play zone, they're going to beat you. If you play man, they're going to beat you. Like, it's just pick your poison when a team that has weapons that are that good on the outside. I mean Tyreek Hill's the best. He's the best wideout in the league.
He averaged 32 a catch.
He's the top wideout in the entire league.
Yes.
I mean, I think they can win it all. They're that good.
I mean, they might.
Haven't beaten a winning team, though.
Let's see how they do in the playoffs against good teams.
They're just, try to
They're
defend
explosive.
them. They're tough to defend.
They're explosive.
Especially when you add in, there's Devin Achane coming off the injury list. Just throw him in there, and then that guy closes you out with 2 touchdowns. I mean, they have talent up and down that roster.
It was a very predictable outcome. None of us thought that the Commanders had much of a chance.
No. I'm actually upset at myself that I made the score so close on my prediction, a 10-point game. How did I not see this being a bloodbath?
And you had them in the 30s. Told you it was going to go in the 40s. Both Drab and I had them in the 40s.
Should have had them in the 40s.
And it looked like it could have easily been in the 50s or 60s.
Yep. They
went to a backup quarterback basically at the start of the fourth quarter.
Right. Yeah.
And
that is disrespectful.
Well, when I gave you my score prediction of 31-20, I meant by halftime.
Yeah, you texted me. You said it.
But I wasn't close.
Prediction.
I wasn't close for the Commanders, obviously, because it was 31-7.
Well,
But
the only
at one
drive-
point on FanDuel, the live betting number was Washington plus 31.5. Yeah. That should never, ever happen in the NFL.
Yeah.
It shouldn't. When you have live betting numbers of what, Michigan would be giving Indiana, I mean, that should
Warren can't be happy.
Ugh.
A donut?
I had McLaurin in one of my leagues that I have to win, and he gave me a 0.
Well, they only targeted him 3 times. Look, they're under duress the whole game. They never were in it. I don't know.
I mean, they just...
EB's gotten to the point now because his passion has completely been sapped on the Commanders. He's gotten into that stage of grief. I guess just acceptance. We're sorry.
I would guess when you have a team that perpetually just kicks you while you're down and disappoints you, you're going to lose faith after a while.
Is the last winning season now 2017?
Apathetic.
I don't know.
We're years removed from the last winning season.
I got to look at the schedule because they all just blend together. I'll tell you when I know when it was. I mean, it was over when they lost to the Bears. To be honest with you, team that hadn't won in a year.
Mm-hmm.
But then the Giants loss and the Seahawks loss. I mean, they just. Seahawks loss was the end of the season.
I mean,
I mean for sure, end of the season.
And Ron, some of his decisions and what he's saying, it almost appears like he's begging for Josh Harris to fire him before Christmas. When he said at halftime, when they're down by 24 points, they need to run the ball more.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're down 38-15 in the fourth quarter, and you send out Joey Sly. what are we doing here? And then he misses a field goal.
Right.
What
53-yarder.
Are you? You're trying to get fired, aren't you, Ron? You're trying to get sent home with your bag of money before Christmas.
Well, maybe he is. Who
Maybe
knows?
he is. Why else would you do that?
So the last Commanders winning season, this is what we've had to deal with as a radio show in the fall,
Right.
which is where we traditionally get our best ratings because regardless of the cap success or the national success, it's still, believe it or not, a Commanders town, and the town gets into it. But it was 2016. Jay Gruden, they had the back-to-back winning seasons in 2015, 9-7, made the playoffs, lost in the first round to the Packers. And then 2016, they were 8-7-1. The glory years. Since then, 7-9, 7-9, and then the spectacular collapse the last season of Gruden into Callahan, 3-13. And we've had 7-9, 7-10, 8-8-1 with Ron Rivera. And this year is going to end up with the spectacular collapse, probably 4-13. I don't know that they win another game. And if you go back,
Doesn't look
I
promising.
brought this up. If you go back and you look at the end of the Shanahan era, that ended with a huge crash too at 3-13. That's the way coaches typically end. The last season of Zorn, 4-12. The last season of Shanny, 3-13. And 3-13 the last season with Gruden, and this year is going to be probably 4-13.
So if Wikipedia is correct, if Ron loses out, if he's there for the last 4 games, he'll end his NFL head coaching career with a record of 102, 103, and 2 ties.
Yeah.
I don't know that you could find.
You know, for that
a more
He's
sake-
desperately
mediocre
trying to
coach.
win one
For
more
that
game.
sake, I hope we do lose out. I want him to retire with a losing record.
By
He's
one
desperately
game.
trying to get a
I
dub.
want him to. Well, the thing is, the Rams and the Jets are winnable for even for bad teams.
Although the Rams are playing for a playoff spot now.
Rams are playing better.
Rams are better now that they've got
But
Stafford
it's not
back
like
and
they're
Cup.
it's not like they're
No.
the Dolphins.
No,
they're not
no,
the
no.
Cowboys. So you're not
but
the
they're
Niners.
but they're playing well.
okay.
Three straight
I mean,
wins.
we're playing terrible, but
Jets, if you can't beat Trevor Siemian or Timmy Boyle, I don't think Washington's going to score a bunch of points against the Jets, but you could beat them, 16-10.
And Aaron Rodgers isn't coming back.
No.
No.
you shouldn't.
But
I don't know.
The Commanders are so bad that you can't look at another team and say Commanders should fill in the name of the team.
No.
They're just
You can't predict it, but I could just say that those two are somewhat winnable. You have a somewhat of a shot. The Niners will destroy us, and the Cowboys, if they're
Do you know
playing
what
at
they're
full
playing
strength.
for
Do you know what Puka Nacua is going to do to this secondary? You know what Cooper Kupp is going to do to the secondary if he's healthy? I know that hasn't looked the same, but
He did have a touchdown yesterday.
yeah, but I mean he's still kind of limping around.
Correct.
Those guys are going to slice and dice this secondary. Like Matt Stafford could have a 350-yard passing game against them.
Why
They're
didn't
that
you
bad.
think that you kind of scoffed at me and Drav when we
Yeah.
said that they were going to score 40 points?
I
Why
don't
didn't you
know.
think
I don't know.
the Dolphins, who had the most explosive offense, going against the
Not
team
sure.
that gives
Here-
up the
here's
most
why.
explosive
Here's
plays,
why.
would have more of them?
I'll be honest. Here's why. I thought foolishly.
You thought the simplified defense was
No.
going to work out?
I thought that the Commanders' offense would be able to respond against Miami.
Okay.
They couldn't.
So you would give the Commanders points, but why
Yeah.
wouldn't you give the
I
Dolphins
don't
more
know.
points?
I'm
Well,
not
just
sure.
because
I gave
that's-
31. I mean, that's
I gave him 31 too.
31's a pretty good number.
I mean,
you can't predict the pick six.
I mean, to score in the 40s, I mean, that's not, even in this day and age in the NFL, it's not that easy to do.
But they've
especially
done,
on the road.
haven't they allowed that in 2 straight games?
Yeah, I know. And
When they play explosive offenses,
I
this is
bought
what's going
into
to happen.
the fact that the Dolphins are a little bit different on the road than they were at home, and they clearly, when they play Washington on the road, doesn't matter. They're
Well,
going to score 45.
I think some of us thought, well, they played the Eagles tough 2 times. That they've had some good games against good teams. Maybe that they would step up and put in a good fight. But it just didn't happen.
I don't think we spent enough time talking about 9 out of 11.
What's the point?
4-9 sounds terrible. They've lost 9 out of 11 games.
Yep.
That's what teams that pick in the top 5 of the draft do. That's what horrible teams do.
They're so bad.
They're bad.
They're dreadful.
It's a
And
bad
then when you examine the wins, they beat the Patriots in a squeaker.
Yeah.
Do you understand the Patriots?
They stink.
Oh, my God. You want to talk about live lines?
Talk about tanking.
I didn't see what the end line is, but if you look at the total, because I do the betting show on Sunday from MGM, and I asked the guy, so what's the total? And I don't, early in the first quarter, it's something like 27 or something, and then it just keeps going
By the
down.
fourth
and
quarter, it was
down.
probably
Yeah, but
12 and a
The
half.
sad part about the Patriots, I don't even think they're tanking. Like
They just can't win. Yeah, they're bad.
So under-talented. And then early in the game, Ramondre Stevenson gets knocked out. Like
hurt.
he's their one decent offensive skill player. And then when he goes down, then you're relying on Bailey Zappi and Devontae Parker, who just came off like the injury list.
And last week,
it's gross.
Last week I defended Matt Patricia.
Yeah.
All right, just because, look, the offense hasn't gotten better. I think Matt Patricia, it was an outside-the-box hiring, a defensive guy offense. They ridiculed him. Then they bring in an offensive guy, and they're just as bad, actually worse, this year with Bill O'Brien running the show. I'm now going to get in the business, and this is a bad business, of defending Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. Because every time I saw a pass, there's a defender basically within 6 inches of every receiver. These guys don't separate at all. The only completions were like back shoulder perfect dimes. Mm-hmm. He's got no guys open.
Yeah, I mean, I remember somebody early, like before the season even started, when they were assessing the Patriots wideout room, they said they're filled with a bunch of like number 4 wide receivers. And
that's correct.
Pretty much what they are.
They must be so slow.
You think Juju Smith-Schuster has any explosion left with his banged-up knee? No. Those guys don't separate.
Devontae Parker.
They drafted a dude, Tyquan Thornton, that was out of Baylor.
Yep.
Way too high. He's the one explosive guy to have. He just can't play.
He can't play. Well, look, that's Belichick making all the decisions.
Well,
but anyway,
decisions.
that's your Commanders.
And they're going to have a different quarterback, obviously, next year.
But that's your Commanders' win. Examine the wins.
The wins are
they
not
beat the
impressive.
Cardinals.
Enough. It's a shame, but like when you watch the Niners and Debo and McCaffrey, like superstars.
Yeah, explosive.
Or A.J. Brown, Micah Parsons. We actually don't have one superstar.
Like I love.
I've been saying that for years.
I love Terry McLaurin, great guy, but
he's
he's
not
like
a
he's a
superstar,
number.
right?
He's a great number 2 receiver on the team. He
Correct.
shouldn't be the number 1.
He's not a guy that's going to catch a slant and take it to the house 80
Right.
yards.
Right.
Like for
We
like,
just don't have
like
a guy.
for
We don't have
And he's
anybody
not
like
a
that.
guy that's going to get targeted,
Right.
12, 13 times
Well,
and
they
catch
should,
9.
but they just don't.
For a brief
Yeah.
moment in time, I thought Terry McLaurin was on the same tier as like C.D. Lamb and A.J.
No.
Brown, and I'm sorry, he's just not.
All these guys are NFL caliber players, in my opinion. But they're probably
As a
guys
unit.
They got guys starting that probably should be backups.
Right.
And
No one's
just-
untouchable.
No one's untouchable, and we just don't have. We just need stars. I don't care what position it is. Literally, I don't care what position it is. Like I don't even think Cam Curl has flashed much this year. He was supposed to be like a bright spot, and it's not that he's bad. It's just that maybe not as good. I don't know. It's just very frustrating, and it's hard to do this show, to be honest with you, because I really enjoy. I like the team. I root for the team, and everyone's just laughing and goofing on them. And I know that's because what else are you gonna do? But it's kind of hard to do the show because I don't know. I don't like to laugh at them
Right.
because it's the team I root for.
Because you're disappointed.
Yeah,
you were
I was disappointed 3 or 4 weeks ago.
You're
so
expecting better results, and you just don't have it.
Yeah, it's
It's,
just
I
not
mean,
fun.
like you said, they've got good individual players, some, but as a unit, it's just a
and
bad
we just
football
don't have
team.
any
It's a bad
stars.
mix.
And we
If
know
you
about
don't
the
know where-
coaching. And the coaching isn't good.
The coaches are terrible. I mean,
That's
and you're
why,
just playing out the string. You know that there's going to be a new regime.
well, you
and
just don't even know what you're
whoever
building
takes
around.
over as the GM is going to hire a coach, and they're going to clear out a lot of players. And one of those guys, we'll get to our Howell eval at 6:45, that's going to be on the bubble. Let's be honest, he hasn't played well the last couple of weeks. It's going to be Sam Howell. The new regime's going to take a look at Sam Howell, and they're going to see some good. And there's definitely a lot of good. But they're also going to see a guy that leads the league in sacks, picks, and pick sixes.
yeah.
And they're going to have to decide whether they stay
I mean,
with
if
him.
you have a top 3 pick and you get a stud quarterback, go for the quarterback. Who cares?
But will they win another game? I don't think they will.
What is it? I mean, does it really matter?
It doesn't matter, but I put it up as the
Honestly.
Junkies poll of the day,
Well, it
brought to you
matters
by
for
Van
draft
Meter
status.
Homes, and it does matter for the draft, and it kind of does matter for the psychology. Nobody thought this team was going to be this bad at 4-13 if they finish off the year without winning anything. 4-13. I think you and I had them at 7-10. Jason might have had them 7-10. EB had them
Yeah.
at 10-7.
I mean,
4-13 is worse
Oh, it's a
than all of us
catastrophe.
you got
thought.
to be really bad to go 4-13. You got to be awful to go 4-13. I didn't think the team was awful. I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs, but awful is a different level.
I actually think I think they'll win a game, but maybe they won't.
I could see them winning
And I
one
actually
more.
would like them to.
No,
Unlike
you
most
just said
people.
you don't want them to, and then if they get that win, that means Ron's going to
No,
retire
I didn't
above
say-
500.
Well, that's true. I mean, I'm kind of joking about that. As a fan, I like to watch my team win. So I'm not one of these fans and I know I'm in the 1% or less than 1%. Because season's over, I get it. But I still like to watch my team win. So I can't sit there and go, yeah, I hope we really play good and lose late so we can move up in the draft. That's not my thing. I like to win.
Yeah, but if you knew that, say, losing that game gave you the promise of a franchise quarterback, and I'm not talking about gambling, just you knew it would be a guy that would start for a decade and lead you to multiple
maybe at the very last
double-digit
game.
wins.
Maybe at the last game.
You can't just live in the moment and be a prisoner of, we have to win this game. I don't want to tank. But if you
Maybe
move
at the
up
last
that
game,
one
Cake.
spot,
I can't do it 6 weeks down. I can't just say, shut it down, lose everything with 5-6 weeks to go. I just can't.
I understand.
Not how I'm made up.
I understand the
The
mentality.
last week, sure.
But now, like the team is just adrift.
I know.
They're a boat that's
But
hitting an iceberg.
it's easy to say when you don't care about them.
I would think.
I like them.
Yeah.
I root for
And look, there's probably a lot of fans like that. But,
I don't think so. I think I'm the only one, literally.
well, I mean,
Everyone else just wants to tank.
they don't enjoy watching them get blown out. I mean, I know that if you want a better
It's not
draft
fun.
position, you're not really, you're not making the playoffs, so why win any more games? But it's tough to, if a team you really love, it's tough to watch them get blown out.
Personally, I felt really bad for Jonathan Allen when he was getting interviewed, and I think it was Scott Abraham was asking him like 4 or 5 straight questions, and toward the end he's like, you know what, I'm paraphrasing. He's like, I'm done with the building character portion of my career.
Because I just want to win.
Yeah, I just want to win at this
Well,
point.
Well, that's how I feel as a fan.
I was driving back from MGM National Harbor yesterday, and I heard J.P. Finley on with Doc Walker. And J.P. Finley made, I thought, a very good point. He said, I don't want to hear any more from Ron Rivera about growth and development.
Wow.
We're 4 years into this.
Yeah.
Guess what? You're in the same spot you were when you took over.
Well, that's
from
all
Jay
talk.
Gruden.
That's all
Ron's
talk.
got nothing.
That's all
They're in the
talk.
same spot.
He says the same
I've
thing
never
after
seen
every
him
game.
Took over a 3-13. Okay, maybe they're slightly better because that last season with Callahan ending the season and Gruden starting the season, they finished 3-13. But you're going to win 4 or 5 games. You're in the same spot after 4 years as where you started. And Jay Gruden, I thought, took a shot on Twitter. Did you see Gruden's shot?
I did, but I didn't quite understand who he was taking a shot at.
I think he was kind of taking a shot at Ron.
Was he taking a shot
and
at
all the
Ron,
people that say that culture, it's all about the culture. And I think Jay probably thinks he had a decent culture.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, because we never really talk about that, but Jay probably took it personally that they all talked about how terrible the culture was when he was there.
Yeah, because he was here for 7 seasons.
But I don't think people
parts of 7
particularly
seasons.
blame Jay.
Yeah,
They blame Bruce and
Right,
Dan.
it wasn't Jay's fault.
Here's
He
what
was
Jay-
just he was the coach when those stooges
He was
were
here
in
for
charge.
6.
If you didn't see it,
He was here for like 5.5.
and I know
years.
Jason doesn't have Twitter, Coach _Jay Gruden on Twitter. And his Twitter following's growing pretty fast. He said, 4 to 5 years now, figured culture would have been the difference.
That's definitely a shot, 100%.
It's a shot.
How could it not be?
Yeah, no, I know it's a shot. But I just didn't quite know who it was at.
I don't think he has anything
Ron
personal
or-
against Ron, but he you know.
No, he's just saying that this is bigger than Ron, is bigger than me. Like, it's not all Ron's fault. It certainly wasn't my fault.
One thing that I interpret, I think he often defends coaches. I've seen him defend coaches like Matt Canada. I think he's saying it's about the players. And all this culture stuff, that's BS. It's about the players.
Certainly about the players.
And I think EB hit something which I've been saying for years. They don't have elite players.
We need
Stimmy
a couple
tweeted
stars.
us.
We need a couple stars.
He said, y'all finally waking up. Congratulations. The roster has been mid for years. No superstars, no playmakers. We literally have bottom tier picks and free agents on defense, and we're expecting them to be competitive is insanity.
Well, we've drafted some high picks, but they haven't really, like, Chase was supposed to be, like, generational superstar. He was supposed to be, I mean, we didn't even know who Micah Parsons was when they drafted him. And he just wasn't. And McLaurin was a third-round pick who's had an unbelievable career, but he's not a superstar.
Hey, how's that ball-hawking Manny Forbes pick working out for the Commanders?
Manny Forbes so far, I mean, I think he'll be okay when it's all said and done, but, it's been a disappointment. Montez is pretty good, but he was never a superstar. We just don't have superstars.
Jamin Davis, underwhelming.
Jamin
First-round
Davis
pick.
is mediocre.
No, they have a bunch of guys. If maybe it's the Ashburn syndrome that people talk about, that they'll have moments and they can be good players in the league, but they don't have the true difference makers.
We don't have...
You don't have a Christian McCaffrey or a Debo Samuel.
No, we don't have anybody like that. But
Brian Robinson is nice. He's a good player. He had a couple good runs.
But going back
yesterday,
and, growing up.
But he's not
like,
a difference maker.
Like
No,
our
he's not a
offensive
difference maker.
line was great for a decade. Or, we had Dexter Manley or Darryl Green. We don't have any.
Well, that's why, like every year, the only Pro Bowler is Tressway. Almost every year, right?
Yeah, he's it.
They don't even have Pro Bowlers.
Yeah. It's kind of embarrassing when you're only Pro Bowler as your punter. I mean, he's great at what he does, but if that's what you have to hang your hat on, that's your Pro Bowler.
Your first-round picks have to be legitimate starters, legitimate studs, especially if you're drafting the top, 10, 16, 18, whatever. Chase is gone. Mm-hmm. Jamin Davis is average. Dotson's a number 2.
Mm-hmm. Montez is gone.
And Manny Forbes.
You have to go back to Allen and Payne, and they've been underwhelming.
You can't give up on Manny Forbes yet, but he hasn't been.
He's had a very subpar rookie campaign.
Yeah.
Between injuries, getting torched by A.J. Brown and DJ Moore, especially in those high-profile games.
Meanwhile, all the other corners that were drafted in the first round, the kid in Seattle, right. Joey Porter Jr., the kid in New England before he got hurt, they all were flashing Gonzalez. Great.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the phones. 800-636-1067.
All right, let's go to line 2. Let's go to Eddie in Centerville. Eddie, Valdez, you'll have to punch them all up because my thing doesn't work. Line 2. Eddie, hey, buddy.
Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning.
What's up,
lovely to hear you guys this morning. First and foremost, EB, there's thousands of us that want to see them win every Sunday. There's not 1%, man. That's like 20% of us.
I hope so.
Me, I don't want to see my team lose. Yesterday, I was watching it go from 20 to 30 to 40 on defense, and then on offense, we were going from 1 to 10. You know what I'm saying? The score ended up being 45 to 15 or something like that. Mm-hmm. So, no, I found out that maybe Bieniemy isn't the right fit here, and maybe Howe isn't, because Howe regressed so bad the last 3 weeks. Last 3 weeks, especially yesterday, he was off, completely off. He threw that pass to Samuels, and I'm like, you better hit that pass to Samuels because he's wide open. And he almost scored a touchdown there. And that was it. That was the only spark I saw yesterday. Like, oh, my God, the drafting had been horrible. You mentioned Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons was granted by LeVar Arrington. He was going to be a superstar in the NFL. We all knew that. And the dude got Davis. Like, remember, it was like 11. It was pick 11, pick 12, pick 13, or something like that.
Davis was after him.
Bad.
The
Davis was 19.
Get him.
Yeah. Davis was the 19th pick.
Right. So it was like the teams but Micah Parsons went like 13 or 14 or something like that.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what's going on in that organization. I'm not trusting it anymore. I'm not trusting Bieniemy. I sure don't trust Rivera. I don't trust anybody in there to lead us. So as a fan, I'm completely lost.
Well, Eddie, here's the thing, Eddie.
Right, thanks, Eddie.
You're saying you don't trust those guys. They're all going to be gone. You're going to have different people. And whether or not you can trust them, they're going to have to prove it to you as a fan. I don't know. But you're going to have different people making the decisions. You're going to have different players. Could be a different quarterback. We'll see.
You know how Ron let go of Jack? Yeah. And then I guess it was reported before the game that the DB coach was going to take care of most of the play calling and the defensive.
Christian Garcia.
And I was like, what is going on? Like, Ron doesn't want to do anything.
Right.
He just wants to stand there with the arms folded.
Well, I heard him say that somebody asked him last week, how was he allocating his time? How much time could he spend on the offense? He's like, well, I don't really have time because he's having to work on the defense.
My day's so packed. But
and one thing I heard, I don't know whether this is true, one thing I heard about the simplifying the defensive approach was, and I don't know whether this works, and I don't know whether they did this, was, so typically, let's say Jack Del Rio was calling the play as a defensive coordinator. He might be changing the play call every play, first down, second down, third down. Mm-hmm. But the way that I heard it, at least, was they might just call a play, and that was going to be the play for that set of downs. Like, we're going to run, a 4-3, and we're running that on first down, second down. Like, that's the simplifying.
Well, that's embarrassing. I mean,
I just don't. I don't understand.
You're not going to pivot. Like if the offense shows you a different look, you're just going to stay in the same defense.
I found that hard to believe.
I mean, that might be true. I was at least under the impression that I was going to see Ron like hands on his knees, bent over with his play sheet, and then making the next call. He's just the same guy. You're just standing there doing nothing.
Yeah, he didn't do anything.
I've never seen a less inspiring coach in my life.
I saw him talking a few times, but I don't know who he was talking to.
Yeah. At least Belichick, who JP always points to, who's this grump, who's uninspiring. At least you see him with his pencil.
Right.
And he's, you know what I mean? He's you can tell he's in it.
And he's dropping F-bombs.
And he's trying to figure out what to do next. Ron just stands there.
Maybe he just wanted Garcia to get an opportunity. Maybe he's just like, you know what? Behind closed doors, Ron went to him and said, look, I'm dead. I'm dead man walking.
Why?
I don't really care anymore. I'm gonna give you the opportunity to call defensive
I've
players.
never
and I'm gonna
seen
stay
a
on the
coach-
phone.
He should have declined.
I've never seen a coach less.
Yeah.
I've never seen one. In all my years
It's
of
hard
watching
to dispute
sports,
it
I've never
from
seen a
watching
coach less.
Well,
Hey,
that was
Trevor,
evident yesterday.
He's a CEO type EB. He's
But why does it
He's a
make
glorified
any
secretary.
yeah.
Why
And
does it
meanwhile,
make any
supposedly has
sense
more responsibility
to
than
have
ever.
your slowest DB covering in man coverage against the fastest
Hill.
receiver in the league?
who had a running start
Maybe they're
because he's
just-
coming in motion.
Maybe the players just aren't smart. Honestly, I don't know. And
I mean, maybe that was a
and they're moving around and they don't know.
maybe that was a player mistake. Who knows? But
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't
if
know.
it wasn't,
it couldn't have been. Okay, we're gonna have you cover him.
who
the
got
whole-
beat on the second hill? Was that
I don't know. I can't remember.
was that
I think
Fuller?
the first one might have been Fuller.
No, the first one was
The second one was Fuller. I
Was
think.
Martin?
Okay, I think the second,
Second
one.
was
Second one
Fuller.
was Fuller.
Yeah.
But that's the whole secondary.
Yeah,
because you have to. How do you
Yeah,
not
yeah.
have safeties over the top?
Do you want to hear Ron?
Yeah, sure.
Coach, I know you kind of broke down one of the plays already, but generally speaking, what was kind of the overall strategy to contain Tyreek Hill, and where do you think that kind of faltered?
Well, what we tried to do is make sure we had people over the top, more so than anything else. And, we've just got to be able to make sure we're where we need to be.
Oh, it's so bad. All right, let's
Well,
go
he didn't
line
have
three.
anybody over the
Didn't look
top
like they did
in the
that.
first
Or-
one.
Or if they did, he wasn't there.
It sounds like he's blaming the players a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Moron.
Well, the second one, the second hill touchdown, I think that was Curl, and he just didn't get there.
Yeah, they're just
Because
late.
remember, he came over late.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, he came
Yeah,
over
they're
late.
late.
If you say it, I believe you.
I
just don't remember.
But
saw
on the first one, there was no one back there.
Yeah. Let's go to Devin, line 3, Rockville. Devin, what's up, buddy?
What's up, fellas?
Hey, Devin.
What's good, Devin?
Man. I listen to y'all every day,
Thanks.
every morning.
Thank you, sir.
Means a lot.
So-
Thank you.
And like I told y'all, producer, man, y'all kind of stole my thunder towards the end when y'all started to take calls, and it's just coming to reality. And I am one of the ones that want to see my team win every week. I'm 34 years old. I've never seen like this is my life with this type of team. Redskins, Commanders, the football team. This is where I'm used to, but I still try to keep the faith. I understand that, the future may look promising, but the reality is these last 4 or 5 years under Ron, right, has been bad coaching so much that it's been covering up the players. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all said it. We don't have no playmaker. We love Terry. I love Terry.
I love him.
But Terry is not great. Like, everybody used to say, Terry or C.D. Lamb. And everybody say, oh, for sure, Terry. I remember when the Eagles traded for A.J. Brown, and everybody was like, look at their numbers. They're kind of the same in Tennessee. They're 18-step difference between them two.
That's because
You
in
know?
Tennessee, all they did is run the ball, and they didn't
Right.
utilize
So-
A.J. Brown like the Eagles do.
So my thing is, I love Jonathan Allen too, but he's not great either. I listen to y'all every day. So every Monday since the beginning of the season, I've been hearing him. He sounds like Ron too. He says the same. He's going to get on here at 9:00 today and say the same thing. We have to do our job and do your job. You don't make I haven't heard his name. They can praise him or Deron. That's why it's like it comes down to the players too. We know Jack Del Rio had to go because of the collective of years. It's time to go with Ron. But this season is really showing that these players stink. Let me take it back. They don't stink, but they're a bunch of backups. And compared to the other National Football League, we just love our team so much that they're great. And they're not even really good. They're
Devin,
good
we
because
feel
they
your
make it in
pain.
the
We
NFL.
feel your frustration.
Thanks, buddy.
It's been the plight of this team, and I feel bad for you at 34, right? You're too young to really remember probably the Super Bowls.
Well, he was like 2 or 3 when
Yeah, you don't remember.
when they won the last Super Bowl.
Right.
He doesn't remember that.
It's been a while since you've had a winning season, and that was barely a winning season. That was 2016. The glory years of Gruden and
And
Kirk.
Devin says the future may be bright. I don't know why you'd say
Well,
that.
they're just saying that because Dan's not here and you get new coaches.
Okay, all right. But doesn't mean you're going to win more games.